What's up, guys? This is Lewis back with another episode of The Development, and today I have a very good person here today, Mr. Jason Chan.
Hi, Lewis, and hi, everyone.
How are
Thank
you
for
doing
having me.
today?
I'm very well.
How's life going since COVID?
It really hasn't affected me that much, apart from the fact that I can't travel with my family. It's something that we do a lot, or we did a lot prior to COVID. So apart from travel, in terms of my day-to-day life, it didn't affect me so much because I like spending a lot of time at home. So, I live in a nice neighborhood and a lot of cafes and restaurants here. So we were still able to do all of that through COVID, apart from a very short period of lockdown here in Singapore. So hasn't affected me that much. But yeah, I have to say, I can't wait to get back to traveling again. So can't wait for the rest of the world to just start to open up.
Definitely. I feel the same way. But let's forget about this whole COVIDness. Let's talk about you. So I know who you are, but let's introduce yourself and tell the people where they might know you from.
All right. Well, my name is Jason Chan, and I guess my biggest claim to fame is that I was one of the Power Rangers in Power Rangers Ninja Storm. I played the Green Ranger, the Samurai Ranger, Cam. And
Yes.
that's where I guess many people will know me from.
Yes.
Prior to that, I actually switched careers. So I was a doctor back in Australia, where I grew up. And 3 years after I graduated and was working as a doctor, I decided I'd go into drama school. So I went to a drama school over there called NIDA in Sydney. And after graduating, Power Rangers was my second job, actually, and was still to this day, one of my most memorable, the job that I really hold dearest to my heart, because it was such an amazing experience, not only being in the show, but being part of this kind of the legacy of Power Rangers.
Yeah, definitely. What made you, like, you went to school to be a doctor? What made you be like, I want to go to drama school? And then how did this whole Power Rangers come about?
Yeah, it was interesting. When I was in medical school, I went to drama classes, and I loved it. I mean, I was just incredibly passionate about it. I also did dance. I did a whole bunch of things. Probably more than I spent more time doing extracurricular things than I did at university, in my medical studies, which made it, of course, very difficult to get through at times. I really had to work hard to get through. But I was just so passionate about the arts, and I loved the ability to create. And I think it wasn't until later down the track that I really understood that it wasn't acting per se that I loved. It was just the act of creating, building worlds, creating stories, telling stories. And that's how I moved eventually into directing. But at that time, I was doing a lot of acting classes, and I thought, this is really great. I want to take this seriously. I didn't feel that medicine was a particularly creative field. In fact, it's not at all. You get punished for your creativity, obviously. You have to pretty much follow the book, the way you practice. And so a few years in practicing medicine, I decided, I'm going to take this a little bit more seriously and audition for the drama schools in Australia. And when I got in, I thought, why not? Let's just do this. 3 years, we'll see what happens. I already have my medical degree, so what could it hurt? And it was great, because going through drama school, being able to practice part-time as a doctor was just a rarity, I guess, because it enabled me to make enough money to put myself through school and have a decent life, But I had great fun there. That was a very special time, made a lot of great friends there, and just got to flex and exercise and nurture all those creative muscles that I think had been waiting dormant for a long time. And when I graduated, I went straight into a kids TV show called Playhouse Disney.
Okay.
And I did that for a little bit. And then a little while later, they, I had this kind of cattle call for auditions for Power Rangers. And a cattle call basically means that they call everyone.
Okay.
Because they were shifting, as you may know, shifting Power Rangers from filming in the States to filming in New Zealand. And then they just wanted to see, who was out there.
Yeah.
So they said, called everyone in from my drama school, and I saw everyone and thought, wow, there are a lot of us who aren't suited to these roles, but they just wanted to see who was out there. And I was one of them, obviously, and did a very quick audition. Then it didn't go that well as far as I was concerned, because I was auditioning with one of the, I guess, actors or reality TV personalities that was around at the time. She had been on Big Brother, I believe.
Okay.
And so she was auditioning as an actress. But to be honest, her reads were really bad. and I felt like I was getting a really kind of stiff read opposite her, because we were going in pairs because they were trying to audition as many people as possible. And I was like, I think that audition was horrible. It was just terrible, because I couldn't really respond, I felt. So I left there thinking that I'd never hear back from them again. And it was at least 6 months later, I think, totally forgotten about it. And then my agent called and said, yeah, they want to call you back.
Oh, wow.
And that was a nice surprise, and went back in. And it was just, I think it was just one call back as far as I remember. And in that call back was Doug, who was one of the producers and writers. And he was there. I did a very short read again. He said, oh, can you do some martial arts or something to camera?
Yeah,
just a few punches, blocks, and whatever. And he said, yeah, that's cool. It was really strangely casual, and he just said, you ever been to New Zealand?
No, it looked like a lovely place. I want to go.
Right. Well, it was exactly my answer to him when he asked me that question too. Said, yeah, well, you want to go? And I said, yeah, I definitely do. And then, I got the call. He basically told me, yeah, you're in. We'll fix up all the paperwork later, but see you in New Zealand. And that was it.
Wow, that's pretty crazy. Did you one have it, like, did you know any type of martial arts experience? And two, did you like imagine yourself like saying, oh my God, I'm gonna be a Power Ranger?
Yeah, that was the best part about it. When my agent first told me about the cattle call, my agent is pretty cool, even though, most of us have just graduated, and there's very little work around for actors, as you well know. Most actors don't work most of the time, right?
Yeah.
But my agent's always very polite enough to just say, do you want to even audition for this? It's very, very polite. It's like, of course I do. I just want work, right? Everyone wants work. But she did say, look, just check it out. This Power Ranger thing, it's a kid's show. See if you want to audition. And I was like, I know what Power Rangers is, but of course I still got myself a tape, from the local video store. It was still VHS at the time, popped it in and watched the original Power Rangers movie. And I just loved it. Like, I think as any guy would understand, it appealed to the kid in us that says, yeah, I just want to be a hero. I want to play a hero. That would be awesome.
Yeah.
And I think, as I told the other guys, Ryan, on Morphin Network, there was a little bit of conflict when I got this role, because I was still with Playhouse Disney, and the shooting times were going to clash. And so there was a little bit of a kind of a legal process that I'd go through. And they said, look, this is a hassle. It's, nothing terrible is going to happen, but Disney is fighting over you. Disney at this stage, luckily, also owned Power Rangers. They bought Power Rangers, and there was Disney Playhouse that I was working for. And so they said, you have to be on this phone call. And my agent just said, we don't want you to say anything other than what we specifically ask you to say. And we have a lawyer, an entertainment lawyer on as well. And then we have the two Disney headquarters on as well. And
wow.
I was on this call, and I had to be silent the whole time, right?
Yeah.
And my agent's lawyer just said, okay, we've discussed it all. We've discussed the dates. We've discussed opportunities of moving dates, trying to delay things or whatever. We've discussed everything, and we're at an impasse. Like, there's conflict, and you have to pull out of one of these shows. Whoa. And then so headquarters just said, Jason, I want you to answer one question with a yes or no answer. Would you like to be a Power Ranger? And I always remember it to this day because it was such a pivotal moment, right, of my life. But they made it very easy, and asked the right question, obviously. And I simply had to say yes. But imagine any other answer. Like, would anyone say anything else, right? It was a memorable, pivotal moment in my life, because after that, I think life changed. Even way after filming the series, it's the love from the fans, the support from the fans, and the constant sort of recognition of having been part of this amazing legacy that fuels me to this day, and is really, really nice. Obviously,
that is super awesome. That whole process sounds crazy and stressful, but it seems like you made the right decisions when they asked you, do you want to do this? And you said,
yeah, because I talked to a lot of other people, some of my friends and colleagues who had said to me, oh, look, there'll be other opportunities. My agent also said there'll be other opportunities, other things will come along. But I knew something that maybe not all of them know or knew at the time, is that no, opportunities don't always come and lay themselves at your feet. And when they do come, you've got to seize it. I can remember back in my career as an actor, and I can count on one hand the number of roles that I loved. So when you love something, when an opportunity comes and you look at it and you go, and this is something that I've since sort of developed as a question to myself, would I pay to do that? And if you would pay to do it now. Grab it and do it. Don't wait. Don't think about the fact that there are other opportunities that might come. If you would pay to do it, it's something that really speaks to your heart, and you should just go and do it.
Yes. I totally agree with that. A lot of opportunities never come, and
again,
and when that one comes that you think that that it fits you and it's right for you, then you got to grab it. You got to try it. If all else fails, then at least you wasn't wondering, man, I should have took it. At least you tried.
Yeah. And a lot of I remember the following year, one of the actors who became another Power Ranger, I won't mention who, but he had also gone through drama school, and he wanted to talk to me. He was from Australia, and he called me, and I think I was in New Zealand at the time filming the team up, and he just said, look, I just got an opportunity, to be a Power Ranger.
Yeah.
And he asked me, do you think it's a good opportunity? Do you think it'll lead to great things? And I remember telling him, dude, this is it's you shouldn't look at it ever as a stepping stone. You shouldn't look at anything as a stepping stone. You should ask yourself one question: do I want to do it?
Yeah.
And doing it means experiencing it fully and putting your heart and soul in it, because it is simply that. It's an experience that you get, that someone's given you, like someone's paying you to do, and paying you to have this amazing experience and to be part of this family. And I got a little annoyed that, people look at this just as a stepping stone. I never saw it that way. I always saw it as just the be all and end all, to be paid to have that experience, to get on set with these people, to meet this what became kind of like a second family, and to have that and keep that with you for the rest of your life. It's special. And I told him that, and he said, okay, yeah, I get you. I said, don't ever think of it as a stepping stone. It may never lead to anything, but what you've been given, very few people get, and so many people out there would pay for it. Do it and have fun and love it, and that's what you'll get out of it, right? You'll feed your soul. And then a year later, or it was 2 years later, I think, I can't remember where I met him again, and he just said, Jason, remember that phone call? I want to thank you so much for that, because I did it, and I took that on, and I really kind of he said, I not loved it in a sense that I actively loved it, like I actively participated, in the role and in the family and the experience. And then, he said, I get it. Now I know how I'm going to choose all my acting roles. It's about the experience, not about what it leads to.
Yeah. Wow. That's good that he listened to your advice, and he took it to heart and really understood like where you was coming from, because not a lot of people would do that, and not a lot of people would listen. A lot of people would just be like, like, I called him thinking he would tell me yes or no, and not this whole long story, and then they'll, they do whatever what they want. So, whoever it was, that's good for him that he listened and took the chance, and now he's probably doing bigger and better things now. So what did you know that you was gonna be the Green Ranger, or like there was like a role that you thought you was gonna do, but then they switched you over?
When I went over, the producers told me that they hadn't yet decided on whether I was going to be Green or Yellow Ranger. Of course, to me, it didn't really matter that much, like green, yellow, what's in a color. But then they told me, well, the Green Ranger is going to come out later, and we'll spend a lot of time in ninja ops, being the techie support. And then I was to be honest, I was a little bit disappointed, because I was going, oh yeah, I don't want to do that role. And to be honest, it's a bit of a stereotype, right? This Asian tech geek in ninja ops, and I really mentioned that, and I brought it up to Douglas, who is the head writer, and I said, one thing I don't want to do is, once again, like, what do you call it? Support that stereotype.
Yeah.
The geek that wears glasses, that sits at a computer all day. And he said, okay, I got it. So what we can do is kind of subvert that a little bit, in that you can start like that, but when you become the Green Ranger, then you get to save the team. You get to be one of the most powerful Rangers. You get to do all of that. And then I went, okay, that's the deal. That's cool. And that's exactly what they did. And, it's also something that I talked to costume the head of costume department as well. And I think it's important for people to do that. I know, sometimes I watch American TV and American films, and I get disturbed by how much stereotyping there is. I mean, across races. And when we see the sort of racism that's happening, in the States particularly, I'm just going, is anyone surprised? Like, look at what's on TV. Like, look at what's in the movies. And the way they represent different races is still very, very like stereotyped, and it's kind of shocking that it's still happening. Like when I was in Australia, the same thing was happening, and it's one of the reasons I turned to directing and writing, because I was just so sick of the sort of roles that I was playing. Like I remember being in Singapore, and the first time I ever auditioned for a lead role here, they said, "Oh, you're going to audition. Well, you're going to audition for the romantic lead." And I went, "Wait, what do you mean, the romantic lead? How can I do that?" And my thought process was, and this had been trained in me, my thought process was, I'm Asian. I could never be the romantic lead. And of course, the irony was that, but you're in Singapore. Everyone's Asian here. So I went, oh, okay. Well, I have to shift that thought, obviously. And in Singapore, I started, being able to audition for lead roles, here. And then there was a German production that came, and they also said, well, you'd like to audition for this role. It's kind of a romantic role. And I went, oh, okay, audition for it. And then I found out when I got the role, they said, oh, well, it's the lead role. We'd like to offer that to you. And I went, what? It's the lead role and it's a romance? It doesn't make sense to me, because that never happens. Yeah. And when I got the script, I remember feeling like that the hairs bristled on my neck, because it was a turning point for me when I read a script where the lead was an Asian character for which a German woman fell in love with and then stayed with. Like I kept going, oh no, later down the track he's going to turn into a villain. He must be something's wrong with him, right? Yeah. And then she'll go back and blah blah blah. It's just kind of just an exotic side journey in her life, but it didn't turn out to be that. And I in fact got to play this lead romantic role, and that for me, just my own reaction to that was really telling and really sad, because I felt like, my gosh, I've been taught that this could never happen in this world. And that was really scary. And to bring it back to Power Rangers, it's one of the reasons why I love the show so much, because it was all about multiculturalism. I don't know if you know this, but I sat next to the original developer of the Power Rangers series from Japan, right? He said he came up with the idea of all the different colors to represent the different races of the world. And that's why they all have to be multiracial. That's why Disney to this day has to cast multiracially. Otherwise, I'm sure at some point it wouldn't have been, right? But there was a mandate kind of like that it has to be a multiracial cast. And that's why I love it. Like, it's about the fact that, the world comes together to kind of battle a common enemy, and we have to work together as various nations. And of course, I love that messaging. And it wasn't until I came over here that I realized how ingrained it was in my own psyche, having grown up in Australia and watching American TV, that Asians could only play the thief or the dishwasher in a TV series. Yeah. And to be honest, I was auditioning for those sorts of roles, and I had to audition in broken English, which none of my Asian friends spoke. Like none of my Asian, all my Asian friends, were the majority of university graduates, and they were all top of the state and top of the country. in every aspect, including English. So the fact I felt so insulted that every time I went to audition, I went, guys, the Asian population in Australia is topping all the universities, topping all the school marks, and yet we're having to still portray Asians as these people that can't speak your language. It's like, that's pretty troubling, and no wonder racism still is rearing its ugly head, and sometimes more and more in some places. So I think the media has a great responsibility in trying to change that.
I totally agree with you. It's very stereotypical with a lot of roles that actors play. As Hispanic, a lot of the roles that Hispanic plays is either like a robber, a person that is a thug, or like or something not as like
not aspirational.
Yeah, something aspirational, not inspiring to say. It's just like, oh, that's a Hispanic. All right, he's gonna be the thug. He's not gonna be like somebody that graduated from school and got this great job and lives this great life. It's just more like, no, he does something that's why he got to this great life. It's unfortunate, and sometimes it makes it as a good movie, and sometimes you're just like, damn, like why can't we have a better role? And I think that's what's coming to now, where like a lot of these actors are now speaking up and fighting for, like, we want to be more inspirational. We want to be more like, we want to be more than just like stereotypical, or we got to play the robber, the thug, the whatever role they may think that we should play because we're that type of person. And I actually appreciate that, because it's just like, we don't want to be always resorted to like, oh, we do this, we do that only. We want to step up into the world. We want to show that like we're not just that common role. And I get what you're saying too.
Yeah, I think it's a lack of, I don't know if it's a lack of imagination by writers and producers and directors, or if it's just that they have been kind of brainwashed so much through their own youth and through the media that that's all they can think. I remember an Asian writer in Australia saying to me, oh, I wrote a role perfect for you. I had you totally in mind. And he wrote a stereotypical Asian role, with glasses, a calculator in a pocket, and an asthma inhaler, and who died like very early in the movie. And I went, how is that typically me? Like, I don't wear glasses. I'm not that geek. And it's just that sometimes even Asians within that society think the same way, and that's sad. Anyway, that's what sort of then got me thinking about writing and directing, which is what I ended up doing, after I moved out here, and even in Singapore, where I felt, oh, maybe I'm in the majority here. I felt a lot of the roles, strangely enough, were also stereotypical. Like they stereotype themselves. And then I realized, one of the reasons why that's done generally is because it's the easiest thing to do. Because it's very hard to write aspirational characters. Aspirational characters are complex, and they're complex to write, complex to act. And what I realize is, everyone does the stereotype because it's easy. And I would, plead actors all the time, and I do now, to please don't do that. It's the easy thing to do, and it will get cheap laughs, but that's not what will build a better world for us, either as an actor in the things that you do, like the roles that you do, or the world that you will live in afterwards.
Definitely.
Unfortunately, I think a lot of actors have been complicit in the supporting of the stereotypes, and I think that's not good.
Yeah, definitely. I agree.
Yeah.
And it's unfortunate, but hopefully with time, things will just keep continuing to change and more people speak up. And that's all we can really ask for, I say. But anyway, that was really good. That was but so what happened the life after Power Rangers after, and I just gotta say one thing, your Ranger on that show, I do love. I was one of my favorites, and like your whole suit and morphing sequence and just changing was awesome. That's I gotta say that.
Thank you. Well, I can't take credit for all of that. I give credit to that whole Power Rangers series, all the creatives that were on that, the writers, the directors, of course, the Japanese series too. So after Power Rangers, obviously I moved out here and mostly to do some interesting work. I did some theater work here and some film and TV and everything. And then down the line, I sort of became friends with another actor here who had come out from the States. His name is Christian. And we just kind of spent a lot of time complaining about roles and complaining about writing and the scripts that we were getting. And although we were acting in a lot of stuff, we were going, we don't really like the roles. We don't really like the scripts. And we always felt disempowered as actors because essentially you were given a script and you were just kind of a piece of moving furniture, right?
Yeah.
Stand over there, say that. Stand over there, say that. And you didn't really have a choice in how the story was told, or or what the end product of that story was going to be, what the objective was going to be. And I think that was when I started realizing that I think I always wanted to be a director. I always wanted to direct the story and direct the audience's emotions, or I wanted to kind of craft, how people would feel after a particular, and also make sure that there was some kind of message in every story that I was involved in. And as an actor, you are pretty powerless to do that. Like, actors really are the last people on set, the first people to leave. And in the film medium, anyway, film and TV, you have very, very little control over how it's all put together. And that's when I decided with my friend, Christian, let's go and write. Let's go and create our own stuff. Easier said than done. Writing's really hard. And I went on and did a writing course, very hard process. And I came out and I was discussing with him, and it still took us another two or 3 years sort of talking through, discussing it, trying to analyze things. The one famous memory I had was trying to get a group together to try and improve, scripts and improve writing. And we all sat around and analyzed and read Battlestar Galactica, the series. Okay. And I love that. I mean, it was just an amazing, to this day, still one of my top shows that that in terms of writing and acting and directing, etc. But we were sitting around reading that, and it was a whole bunch of actors who had previously also complained about roles and writing. And, that group dwindled to about 2 people within 3 weeks. In that, people just couldn't be bothered turning up. They didn't want to do the work. They didn't want to sit there and read. And essentially, it just came down to Christian and I. And even then, it just got too hard. But we kept in touch. And when he went off to do some stuff, and when he came back a couple of years later, he said, I think I'm ready. Like, I'm getting married. I'm going to settle down here, and I want to make our mark here somehow. And that's when we said, look, if we're going to ever make a mark in this industry and change things, we have to change the way we think. And we can't just complain. We have to do it. Yeah. So we went up and we started writing and directing, and just with silly shorts, horrible shorts, actually, we did. Because we didn't know how to operate cameras either, but we couldn't pull on any favors. So we just said, let's just buy a little camcorder and go out and shoot things. And we did. So we started from scratch and learned everything and shot little things. And then one day we shot a short film. And again, it wasn't much. It was really, really simple, but not many people saw it.
Yeah.
We put it on YouTube. About 6 people saw it. But about 6 months later, we were getting pretty hungry, and we were running a production company by then. And the production company was just doing corporates, corporate videos. But the corporate videos got us trained up more and more in the technical stuff, the background stuff.
Okay.
And then one day he just said, yeah, I don't want to do corporates anymore. And I said, I don't either. Like, we're just, we're just working for other people, telling their stories. We want to tell our own stories.
Yeah.
And he called up the commissioning editor for a new little online streaming platform that had started in Singapore. And it was attached to our national broadcaster. And he said, hey, Lionel, we're doing all these shorts. Do you think we can do anything for your online channel? And Lionel said, yeah, actually, I just saw your short film. He was one of the 6. I just saw your short film. I like it. Why don't you come in here and pitch me something? We got a lot of hours to fill. Okay. We went in there, and he said, okay, your short film, 6 minutes, right? Around there. It was great. Love that little 6 minutes of storytelling. I want you to do shorts like that. I went, oh, great. We can do that, and we'll get paid for it. Great. He said, no, I want you to do 64 of them.
Oh,
what?
Wow.
Yeah, 64 of them. You got to deliver it in 3 months' time. Oh.
Yeah.
Yeah, we said the same thing. Oh. And then we said straight away, yeah, no problems. We'll do it. He said, okay, well, deliver me a script in a couple of weeks. For 64 of them?
Oof.
Okay, no worries. We'll do it. Now, remember, this first short film, it took us about 6 months to get up and done, right? Writing it, going through revisions, thinking about it, talking about it, gas bagging at cafes about it, casting it, traveling to a location to find it, and finally shooting it and editing it. It was a 6-month process. It was a 5-minute short, right? We're like, how the hell are we going to do 64? That's crazy.
Yeah.
We're never going to do this. This is crazy. But we just said, we had this rule. It's an acting game that we play. It's called the yes and rule. And actors will know all about it. But every time you offer something, you have to say yes and build on it. And so whenever we have something, an opportunity that comes up, we say yes first, and we build on it. Not only are we going to say yes to this, we're going to make it the best damn series we've ever seen, right? And so we started writing it, and I was, in the meantime, I had to fly to Taiwan for a friend's wedding. So we were writing it at night over Google Meet or Google Hangouts on a Google Doc from 9 to midnight every night, because we were busy here, a day job. I was, in Taiwan, and we'd get on every night, 3 or 4 hours, and we'd write. And we started writing it as these little 5-minute shorts, but we said, hey, dude, there couldn't be a better opportunity than for us to write a 64-episode drama that's all linked, like big story arcs all the way through this. I want to do what Power Rangers did. Like, they had this, so many episodes, and they would link all the characters are interweaving. They all had their own journeys. They all had heroic journeys. Can we do that? And he said, yeah, let's do that. Easier said than done, right?
Yeah.
And we said, well, let's just try. So we did, and we started writing these scripts and then turning them in bit by bit. It was a painful process. Writing is really hard. And then a couple of weeks in, after he had read the first 6 or 7 scripts that were all kind of that we were just giving bit by bit.
Yeah.
The commissioning editor just said, guys, I really like this. I think this could be a TV show.
Oh, wow.
What? So he said, I think, can you convert this into a 13 by half-hour TV show?
Oh, my God.
I think if you did that, the main broadcaster would pick it up. And we went, yes, of course.
Yeah.
But he said, no more money, same budget, but I just want you to convert the 64 episodes. It was kind of kind of already there, but I want you to make them into 13 half-hour episodes. Nothing we wanted more. So we just dug in 3 or 4 hours every night, again, writing like crazy. And of course, we had to come back and start crewing up. We had almost no budget. Like, the budget couldn't hire us even one professional cinematographer.
Oh, wow.
You know, a professional sound team.
Yeah.
We basically had a budget for, essentially it was a web channel, right? It was one of the first streaming channels that came out. And they said, look, we've got a budget for a web series, basically. So all we could do was hire interns who had never done, all 5 of them had never shot a film before. I think one had shot a short film in university. The rest could handle a camera, but never shot anything before, never did sound before. And part of that too was also getting people that didn't come with a chip on their shoulder, you know, about what they could offer us.
Yeah, yeah.
And we put together this crew who were just inspired, gung-ho, just ready to just try anything to make a TV series, right? It was crazy. We're like, okay, guys, we've got this ridiculous budget. You guys are interns. You've never made anything before. Neither have we. And we're going to go and make a 13 by half-hour TV series.
Oh,
by the way, this TV series came out. So it was launched on the web channel. And then, sure enough, the national broadcaster picked it up as a TV show. And it launched on primetime TV here in Singapore quite a few years ago now. And it's just been, by the way, it's just been picked up by this new streaming channel in the States called Din TV, DIN TV. So if anyone wants to catch it, it's called What Do Men Want? It's the first show that we ever made. And it was, bear in mind, it was made as a web series with almost no budget. We used DSLR cameras just before the DSLR revolution came out. And people thought we were crazy. Like, how are you going to do that with that crew? And we had equipment that was like literally, kind of the cheapest equipment you could get in those days, $150 microphone. And that was all. We just went, we're just going to do it. We're going to teach ourselves how to do it. And we did that. And it just kind of got us onto a stage of, well, you've done a TV show now, right?
Yeah.
And then it led to our next opportunity, which we turned down. So then the TV channel said, we'll hire you to do a telemovie, much bigger budget, but now you can do a telemovie. But it came with a lot of conditions. When you're hired to do something, a lot of conditions. You got to do it our way. You got to cast the people we want. You got to change the script to what we want. And to be honest, the people who were telling us how to do that had no freaking idea. These were the same people who were presiding over all the scripts that we couldn't stand in the first place. Yeah. So we'd kind of gone out of the acting system going, can't stand these scripts, learn how to write, direct, came back to the same people who are now telling us how to write the scripts. And we went, that's so dumb. Like, that's dumb. Why do we want to come back here? We didn't want to work here. Yeah. So we said, no, we're not going to do it. We're going to go off and do our own thing. And instead, we took $1,000 of our own money and created something called Perfect Girl. And that was a web series that we made literally with $1,000. $500 went to the actress, and the other $500 went to wardrobe and makeup. Wow. And Christian and I took no pay, of course. Our intern, we had one intern we kept with us. And we went off and just shot this little web series and didn't know what we were going to do with it other than we just thought, we just want to do something that speaks to us, that represents who we are as creators and the sort of show that we want to act in, And we made this little 10-episode web series and sent it out there. We thought, don't know, what can we do with this? Like, after you made it, right? At that time, YouTube still wasn't even really that big. Yeah. And we thought, all right, well, we'll just put it in these web series festivals. And then, lo and behold, 2 days later, we got a call from one of the web series festivals, the oldest web series festival, LA Web Fest. And they said, you guys, you should book your tickets to LA. We're like, what? Yeah, you should get your tickets. We're going to hold a position here for you. You're going to speak on a bunch of panels. I'm sorry, what are you talking about? He said, well, the founder of LA WebFest just watched your entire series. And he watched it last night. He couldn't stop watching, so he's up till 4 o'clock in the morning watching it. And he said he's going to give you a bunch of awards. You got to get over here. We're like, oh, wow, okay, great. We ended up winning like 7 awards there, and then winning a few other festivals. I think we won 3 North American festivals for Best International Series. And, you know, it was, look, not a huge thing, right?
Yeah.
Web series, what's that? A lot of people are like, well, you know, you didn't make a feature film. But for us, it was a great turning point too, because it kind of told us that we were on the right track to turn down you know, our broadcaster here, and that to do something that we loved.
Yeah.
It showed us that we were on the right track. We still didn't make any money out of it yet. And we didn't know where this was going to go. But okay, there were some people saying, you just beat out a lot of other shows that were made for over $500,000, that were funded by the Canadian government, were funded by various other government agencies in the US. They had massive crews, huge cameras, and we, with our 4 people and $1,000, beat out all these people. And that was remarkable to us. But what was more remarkable was when we came back and we got picked up by a couple of streaming platforms. But 6 months later, we got told by one of the platforms, they said, Netflix just asked about your show and they want to pick it up. We were like, what? Like, that's crazy. Oh my God. So we became the first drama from Singapore that was picked up by Netflix globally. And that was just ridiculous, like, to us, because it was a drama. And then we made the headlines in the newspapers, and then our ministers talked about us at this sort of television forum that we have. And I was like, how did this happen, Christian? Like, we were just off, you know, doing our own thing with no money, with these little DSLRs in our living room, you know, and going around Singapore making this tiny little web series, which is, by the way, also picked up by Din Din TV. So just got picked up again, but it's also on Apple TV now, you know, if people want to watch it. But we were just doing our own little thing, and suddenly we were on Netflix, and we were the first. And we had kind of circumvented a whole lot of other industry partners or industry colleagues who'd been trying to do this for the longest time, trying to get, you know, on the world stage or trying to sell outside of Singapore. And no one had ever done that, right? So we were quite surprised and then fueled by the fact that we were on the right track. And then everyone then wanted to pigeonhole us again and say, oh, you're the web series guys. You're the YouTuber guys. Yeah. You should just do more web series. And we're like, no, we want to do films.
Yeah, major films.
Yeah, we want to do a feature film. We always wanted to. And they were like laughing because we started pitching, right? We started pitching the idea of making a film, and they were like laughing at us. Guy, you made a web series. Okay. Good at that. You made a web series. You did well. Don't worry about, you know, one day you might get your dreams. They were pretty patronizing, some of the, you know, production houses here. And we went, okay, that's all right. We'll do it ourselves. Yeah. So we went out and we were pitching, you know, to anyone and everyone who would listen to us. And we had this dream. I loved Japan. At the time, I thought, oh gosh, imagine if we could go and film in Japan. And again, a crazy idea. Never made a film before. And suddenly I want to go and make a film in Japan. But using the yes and rule, Christian just said, okay, let's go and talk to Japanese prefectures at the television and film markets. And so we did. We pitched to all these Japanese prefectures, like the local governments. And they all have little grants, you know, to encourage you to come and film in their prefecture. But of course, you have to raise a pile of money too, and you have to have some sort of background, right? They're not just going to fund anyone. we pitched to them all, and they were very polite. But one prefecture, Okinawa, would listen to us every year for 3 years. So that's how long it took. Like, talk about sort of persistence and grit, right? We pitched for 3 years, and on the third year, the Okinawa prefecture just said, you know what? You guys are pretty good at this web series stuff. Why don't you do a web series in Okinawa? We were like, oh, yeah, okay. We'll think about it. We want to do a film deep down, but yeah, we'll do a web series. And they said, we'll invite you over. We're like, really? Yeah, we'll fly you over, and we'll take you on a recce trip, a 5-day recce trip, where you get to see all the locations in Okinawa and see whether or not you can pitch something. We're like, wow, all expenses paid trip. This is crazy.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, we'll go on that. Like, whatever.
Yeah.
No obligation to do anything. They took us over, and as we were there, we fell in love with Okinawa and fell in love with the countryside, the people, the culture. We started creating the seed of what would become our first feature film. And at the end of that trip, we just said to them, guys, we don't want to make a web series. We're going to make a feature film, and it's going to be about your culture, your indigenous culture, about the Okinawans that were originally here. And we're going to make it about your culture and your food, and we're going to make it in English. And they just kind of smiled and nodded and said, okay, yeah, right.
Yeah.
We went back and we wrote the script. It took us 3 months, and we wrote the script and sent it to them and pitched, sent it to them. We had to do everything. We had to get it all translated. We had to do the whole application in Japanese. So talk about hurdles and everything.
Yeah.
We sent it to them. And they went into, they had a whole lot of judges that came down from Tokyo apparently to assess it, and they rejected us. They said, we don't get it. You don't have any stars. It doesn't look like a star project. We don't get how you're going to talk about our culture in English for Singapore and Southeast Asia. No, rejected us. So we said, okay, we're going to go over there and we're going to shoot a trailer. So we raised some money, a little bit of money, and we flew 3 actors in there from around the world.
Okay.
There was LA, Australia, and ourselves. And with just 4 people, again, our one intern and Christian and I, we shot a little trailer. And the trailer was little bits of the film and we just wanted to shoot. Actually, we shot about 12 minutes of the film, and we put it together so that we could show them what it would look like, because a lot of people don't have imagination. They can't imagine how a script would look. And to be fair, we had never made a film before, so we didn't know. So we went over there and shot something with our little DSLRs, with a backpack. That was it. And we came back, edited it together. I wrote some music to it, and we sent it out to them again. And this time, our fixer said, I sat in the room with them and showed them the trailer, and she said they must have watched it about 10 times. They just kept saying, play it again, play it again, play it again. Wow. And she said they couldn't stop watching it. And after that meeting, they said, ask them to apply again. So it was October, it was about end of August by this time. And we applied again. They said, we might be able to overturn the rejection.
Yeah.
So we applied again, and then they replied us in the beginning of October, telling us that they're going to give us a grant, but we have to finish filming by the 1st of December.
Wow.
So thank goodness we were used to working with the sort of deadlines that we had with What the Men Want, the first series, and thank goodness that we never stopped working. So we just said to ourselves, we're just going to get this film made. We don't care who says no to us. We're just going to make it, because we made Perfect Girl. We made Perfect Girl with $1,000 and just us, and it went somewhere.
Yeah.
And so we just said, we're going to get this film made anyway. And so we had kept casting. We had kept, writing and developing the script. And we had kept talking to people like sponsors and everything. And so when they gave us the green light at the beginning of October saying that we have to film, start filming in November, we were kind of just half ready, you know, and we went, okay, yep, we're going to go and get ready. And we flew immediately to Okinawa and then started doing more casting, even though we didn't yet know how we were going to get the rest of the budget. We just said, we just keep going, because once you're on this plane, you keep going, things will fall into place. And sure enough, we were casting in Okinawa. We got back, and then we presented also this trailer to Sony and Seagate. And you know, the amazing thing about always doing something like a trailer, making something, is that something always happens when you show people, because I think then people can start to see that the train's on the tracks. You're going, you know, you're doing something. And Sony, and I love to credit them, because they just said, they watched the trailer in a big boardroom, and they just turned around to us and said, what do you need and when?
Oh, wow.
Wow. We need some money. We know you don't have a lot to give, but we need some money, and we need cameras. And they sponsored all our camera equipment, and it was the DSLRs. So it's the Sony A7S Mark II at the time, and they sponsored us lenses and stuff that we couldn't buy. Like, or if we had to buy, it would have broken our budget.
Yeah.
And they said, when do you need that by? And when do you need all the cameras, lenses? What else do you need? You probably need some monitors. You probably need some microphones. They just came on board and were so amazing with, like, the meeting just went like that. It was so fast, and they just said, yes, yes, and yes, go do it. And then we went to Seagate and did the same thing. And again, we pitched it all, and they were all pretty cold until they saw the trailer. They saw the trailer and then turned around and said, what do you need?
Yeah.
They said, we don't have money, but we have hard drives. What do you need? And we needed a ton of hard drives, because when you shoot a movie, you got to go over there and back it all up. You know, we had to have enough hard drives to contain all the footage, as well as a couple of backups. So they then furnished us with a pile of hard drives and the drives that we would eventually edit off. So that was really, really generous of them. And yeah, we were so thankful. And so we went over there, made it, came back. And then within a month, we had edited it and post-produced and everything. And again, did it all ourselves, because we didn't have anyone with a real production house or a real production studio, and we didn't want to call in favors. And we just thought, why not? We've done everything so far. Let's just do it ourselves.
Yeah.
And a lot of the crewing and the camera work and everything, it was just a tiny team of 6 this time from Singapore, and then we had a crew over there in Japan. But the tiny crew of 6 were, again, very, very inexperienced technical crew who had never shot on main camera before. And we just said, look, we're going to give you this opportunity. Do you want to learn, and do you want to come over and do it with us? And they were just yes and guys. We said, look, let's just keep playing this yes and role, yes and game, and we'll get really far. And so we went over there, made the film, came back, and then it became the longest running film in Singapore cinemas. We sold to 2 other countries, and when we went back to Okinawa to present it to the prefecture, so many people in the audience, government officials, as well as people, just stakeholders in the prefecture, they were teary and came up to us and hugged us and said that was the best representation of Okinawan culture that we've ever seen. And to this day, on the Okinawa Film Office website, they funded like 97 films over the years, and our film is the only one that they have a picture of right on their website. And we're like so proud that, and also relieved that that we didn't insult them.
Yeah,
but it kind of shows that like if you just determine enough and you just keep going, things will happen. And believe me, we don't have many favors to pull on. We don't have I don't have a lot of clout at all as an actor. And so we had to do a lot of things from scratch. But the amazing thing is that it makes you incredibly empowered. So now whenever we want to do anything, it's just like, well, we can do it all, right?
Yeah.
I can pick up a camera, I can shoot, and I can do sound, and I can post produce, and I can, compose. And it's really built up a whole heap of skill sets that are really, really useful now as we sort of shifted a little bit to fix the distribution problem.
Yeah.
But it was a great journey. And so that's, sorry, I've gone on for a lot, but that's after Power Rangers. And obviously, as much as I love Power Rangers, my life goes on. And this is the journey afterwards, obviously means a lot to me. I love now making films. I learned a lot in Power Rangers about making films. In fact, I spent a lot of time with the DOP, with the editors, with the sound people, always talking to them and trying to learn what they were doing, how they were doing it, all the technical aspects as well, because I always knew I wanted to be a filmmaker.
That whole that whole life story of doing web series to doing another web series to winning awards to like finally getting that feature film, that is a crazy ride, especially with little to no money, and then getting what you wanted, being determined to get it, and then boom, you got it. And that's like that's all you can really ask for at the end of the day. Like, just keep pushing, keep trying, keep going, keep doing what you love until you get it. Basically, that that's pretty crazy. But congratulations on all that.
Thank you so much.
So before we end our show, do you do any more doctor stuff, or like you're like, I'm not gonna say you're totally done with it, but like, and
do you? I can say I'm done with it. I gave up my license to practice many years ago, a few years ago, and the wonderful thing is that for the longest time I kept my license, and I had to keep up the education points and everything, and that was a big hassle. And just paying to be registered as doctors, a few $1,000s a year. You got to pay insurance, you got to pay all this stuff, and I was just like, when am I ever going to go back? And whenever I went back, and I did some practice, every couple of years. I'd go back to Australia and did some practice as a locum doctor, and I just went, I couldn't stand it. It was just not for me.
Wow.
I get angry. I just get so frustrated sitting in an office, seeing patients. I just wasn't cut out to be a doctor. Like, you have to be a certain type of person. Well, everyone suits different jobs. Like, you got to follow what your heart wants to do. And I think everyone knew, even when I was in medical school, that I wasn't going to work for very long as a doctor. But I enjoyed the experience that I had as training as a doctor, but working as one was not so much fun for me. Like, I love the life that I have now. And it was interesting too, because when I let go of my, license to practice, like I essentially gave myself just kind of this release. I felt this burden gone that I had to keep hold of it somehow, or keep it up. Because I really wanted to just do all this other stuff. And now I don't ever question that I'm able to make a living and continue to survive, because I go, well, I've got a lot of skills now. I can always work anywhere. I can do a lot of things. And if I have to start from the bottom up again, I can do it. I can, and I think that's, well, I have a son now, a 3-year-old, and I hope that if there's anything that I can teach him, it's just that resilience and the grit and the ability to go out and learn anything. And to have fun and to find your path. And if you do find your path, then just to know that I'll never starve. Like, I'll never go hungry. I'll find a way to make money doing something that I love.
That's wow. That's all we can ask for. And just congratulations on your son. Congratulations on like all the success you've had so far, and hope for many more. One last question: are you like? Is there anything you are doing like now that like in production that you can talk about? If not, then that's fine. But like anything upcoming?
Yes, yes. I sorry we didn't talk about this sooner, but you know, I started a startup, and if you have some time, let me just explain it a little bit.
Yeah, go ahead.
It's a startup called Cinewave. It's a technology startup, and when we took Jumami Tofu, my feature film, into the theaters here, we realized the big problem is that, you know, theatrical runs of films don't go for very long generally. We managed to stay in cinemas because of the love that we got from, you know, from locals here for the film, but also we did this thing called a limited release. So we did it 2 nights a week, every week. Yeah. We ran for over 2 years. We went into our 3rd year and we were still getting 80 or 90% houses, which was remarkable. But the returns that we got were pitiful. And that's because usually cinemas and distributors take the lion's share of everything, you know, from 50 to 75, 80% sometimes of your ticket sales. So after running for so long, we didn't make enough money to even make another film. And we said, this sucks. We're not the only ones in this situation. Most films that go to theaters lose money. So theatrical releases are all about, they call it a loss leader. It's all about just a little bit of publicity to say that you were in the theaters so that people will watch you on streaming platforms. And we said, this is so wrong. And what's wrong with the system? What we discovered was wrong was that cinemas cost so much to build and maintain and rent, right? The rental space is expensive. So we can't blame the cinemas per se, but it's a really bad system. It's a system where it costs so much to run that cinema, to build it, that they have to claw back all that money over years and years and years. And they're so dependent on hit films and filling those seats. And they're so inflexible with that space that they will only really look at Marvel films or whatever the next Disney film is, because they just want the hits. They don't even want Hollywood indies anymore, right? We used to have good Hollywood independent films. Like when I say independent, I mean anything under $50 million. But even nowadays, you're struggling to find them other than on Netflix. So you're struggling to find theatrical releases for independent films, right? Outside of, you know, superhero films.
You don't see a lot of indie films no more. It used to be a lot out there, and now you don't see a lot.
I mean, they all go to streaming now, which is a fantastic thing with Netflix, Hulu, you know, Amazon, Apple. You know, they're starting to fund great shows which would never have been funded before. But but it leaves out theatrical. So what's left in theatrical? Only your mega sort of blockbusters, right? So we set out to solve that problem. How are we going to solve that problem? Crazy, right? You know, like, who are we? A couple of guys with an independent film, but we're going to solve that problem. So how do you think we did it? Well, I was on a bus one day going down Orchard Road, our main shopping street, and I was looking at all the LED screens that are on the road, and I said, Christian, wouldn't it be amazing if all of those screens had sound? Like, if I could tune into the sound of that screen on my mobile phone, wouldn't it be amazing? He was like, oh, that would be cool. And we played the yes and game, and he said, let's make it. So we went on this journey of building a company, a new tech startup, where you are able to watch a film on a big screen, but listen to the audio on your smartphone.
Oh,
simple enough, right?
Yeah.
Simple. But what are the implications of that? Well, we went off and built it, and we put the prototype in front of a bunch of, you know, angel investors. And it took us standing up, pitching to these angel investors in the corridor of a conference that they were at. We just put the laptop there. Here's a smartphone. Here's a pair of headphones. They put it on, listened to it, and they were just blown away. And that was the very, very early prototype that we made. And they were like, oh my God. And can this scale? We said, yeah. So everyone in the audience can now listen to high quality audio on their smartphone, synced to the picture on a big screen. Oh my gosh, that can disrupt so many things. Well, first we're disrupting speakers, but next we're also disrupting event screenings. But also possibly cinemas. And that's why we made it, because Now any man and his dog can go out with a projector on a white wall and set up a cinema. And you can have 100 people, you can have 200 people, you can have 2,000 people or 30,000 people, which is what we're planning on getting to, watching the same movie all in sync with the picture and getting high quality sound. And that's our new startup called Cinewave. Cinewav, no E at the end, it's Cinewave. And we're about to launch very, very soon. So, if any of your viewers want to hit me up and ask me about it, you can go to our website, cinewav.com, cinewave.com, and just, ask us about it, because what we're open to is anyone who wants to run a cinema. What we're also doing is, and it's running a cinema like an outdoor cinema, indoor cinema, because there are so many spaces indoors that don't have acoustic treatment, good speaker treatment, or don't have good speakers, or even if they do, it's so echoey that you couldn't run a film in there.
Yeah.
And then a lot of event people said, even if we do want to run a film in there, we don't want to, by the time we hire the speakers and bring them all out in a field, it's expensive. It's really, really, really expensive. Really, really hard to get right in an open field, big speaker system. So we got rid of all of that. We had one showing of Jumami Tofu in the Botanic Gardens here in Singapore. The speaker system cost us about $3,500, and we would have lost it if it rained that night. We would have paid for it, and it's gone, right? Yeah. And so basically, Cinewave replaces all that. Everyone just brings their own mobile phone and a pair of headphones, and all you have to look after is a projector and a wall. And so you can start to imagine where you could have cinemas, right? In your town.
I'm imagining right now as we speak. I'm just like, wow, I could put it here, I could do it there, all over.
Yeah. Rooftops. We made it for cities and urban architecture, right? Like a wall on a rooftop or anywhere, right? And you could create these amazing cinemas. So what else was part of the problem? The other part of the problem was all the distribution processes. All these middlemen were kind of holding back films and creating walls between the people that wanted to watch them and the people that made them, that want to get to those people. We're trying to take that away. So on the back end, we also developed a library system, and we're clearing rights of films, great independent films from all around the world, and clearing them for the end user. So let's say, Lewis, you want to open a cinema somewhere, right?
Yeah.
You literally just take your laptop with our Cinewave player. You choose a film that's in the library. All the negotiations have been done for you, and you play it. People can buy the tickets in the app. You don't even have to scan tickets or anything. You can just leave it open, because if they don't have the audio, they can't listen to it.
Can't listen to it. Yeah.
To pay for the ticket, they pay for the audio, and then the audio comes to their phone, then they listen. So you could have it out in Central Park.
Yeah.
And just open, you could grow it. So, and the great thing is, because it's silent cinema essentially, and it's not using radio waves, so you don't have any problems with that. It's silent cinema. The next week, if you've got a lot of people, you can set up 2 screens and have them back to back, and people can be socially distanced watching. And the following week, if you want a Cineplex, you can set up 3 or 4 screens, and you can show multiple movies at the same time, or the same movie at the same time, with people sitting in different configurations, right? You don't have to have, when we had speakers, you have to have this massive screen in front of you, because everyone has to face that one screen. Now everyone can face different directions. And if you've got a couple of people like Christian and I, again, we did it ourselves. We just said, how do we create a technology system where 2 people, us, can create a cinema? And sure enough, we bought a 200-inch screen, which we can carry. We brought it out, and we set it up ourselves in a field, and we had a cinema that 100 people could come to, and
Crazy.
With almost no cost. And so now we started talking to distributors, and they're like, this is a great idea. Now we can get these independent films out, but we can preserve the beautiful quality that the filmmakers wanted to preserve, which is big screen magic, amazing sound. And from the people who've experienced Cinewave so far, many of them are telling us this is better than the cinema because I'm immersed in the sound. And people have been blown away by even just trying it with their little earbuds.
Yeah.
The sound quality is so much better than sitting in a big cinema hall with blown speakers, with people rattling, with people eating their popcorn next to you and talking and taking phone calls. You just block out everything. But at the same time, you're still sharing the experience with a group of people. So you're picnicking, you're out there. So yeah, I wanted to get that in because that's kind of like the last part of the puzzle for us as filmmakers going on this big journey. I started as an actor, went to become a filmmaker, a lot of problems in between, got around those problems by solving them, by saying, let's be independent. Let's work, let's hack the system, use independent equipment. And then finally distribution, trying to hack that and finding a way to create cinemas for the independent filmmaker.
That I would have never thought of that, but that's so smart. That like just you explaining, and I'm just like, wait, so I can like go here, go there, and just have a big screen, like you said. Say I'm playing Captain America, let's say, and everybody can just bring their phones, have their own noise canceling earbuds, and then bam, like they're just watching a movie, and that's it. And then that I would have never thought of that, but that sounds like amazing because it's just like you said, like there's so many people that go to movie theaters, you hear and talking and phones ringing, and you're just like, oh my god, shut up. But now with that, you could just whoop and be in your own world, as people like to say, your own matrix, and that's it. Like you're just there.
Yeah,
that's pretty awesome.
If you think of Lewis, if you think of any place you could set one up for a little trial, let me know, because I would support you in that, and just to try it out. And I would love for you and your friends to experience it. You can watch Perfect Girl if you want.
Definitely.
Or even our own film, Jumami Tofu. But it's going to be ready really soon. So if you can think of a place. And the best places are the ones where you go, there's a white wall there. We could just project on a white wall, because it's another place we found here in Singapore. It was an island with a building, and it just had a white wall behind it. And we just went up to the GM of that island and we said, guys, we could operate the most amazing cinema here. And it would take us 5 minutes to set up and take down, because we just project on this wall. And even the projectors, we did some research on that. And the projectors that we're using are under $800 US. And they blow us away. And we proved it. We went into a cinema, a traditional cinema hall. We projected on their cinema screen with our projector at the back, and they couldn't tell. That was the amazing thing. They couldn't tell the difference between there. So, we put the whole package together, and that's when we realized this is amazing, because we're getting the same image quality as the traditional cinema, if not better sometimes, and we're getting better audio quality, and people, they'll be blown away. And I'm happy, again, for your viewers or for yourself, anyone who wants to try this for themselves, just hit us up on the website or on my email, which I gave you. Just let us know, because we can demo it over a call, over a video call, and then we can get you on board so that you can demo it for yourself, for just friends and family. Just try it. Especially, if you've got a bed sheet on a rooftop in New York, it would be amazing. And we would do that and support you. And all we'd want is some photos and some testimonials of the people afterwards.
Definitely. And especially now in New York, that it's getting nicer and summer's coming. And
people can't wait to get out and do something, like to have an event. People just want to be involved and gather and be together, right? A shared experience. Definitely. But what we have is also this amazing library of great international films too. that I think will blow a lot of people away. Like I've been blown away just watching them going, I never knew these films existed, like, because they just never would be played here.
Yeah.
But they're amazing films, beautiful, beautiful films that deserve to be played. So yeah. Let us know if you want to start a cinema, or if any of your viewers want to start a cinema and this is up their alley. It's a cool way. And who knows, we're looking for the sort of entrepreneurs who go, gosh, yes, I want to operate a cinema. Why not? I mean, there's money to be made, and I, you know, and I think you get the fun of then curating, operating, and creating the experience that could be even better than most cinema experiences now.
Yes, definitely. That is awesome. I hope it definitely picks up. And you know, if I think of a place, I'm definitely gonna message you and be like, I know a spot. Let's do this. But I want to say thank you so much for coming on the show. Thank you for, you know, giving up some of your time today to do it, to talk about your life and things after what you've done.
Absolutely welcome, Louis. You know, there aren't many people who are interested in what I've done after Power Rangers, so I'm so glad that you asked about all of that. I hope I didn't talk on for too long, but you know, all of these things have been very dear to me, particularly this next phase with Cinewave, because I think what I'd like to do is, you know, we built this. We call it the cinema for the people, really. Like, we want to get rid of all this red tape and get those films out there to the people. And I think it's really powerful, because rounding back up to, you know, racism and all of that we talked about previously, I think this is a very powerful medium. You can do so much with film and storytelling. And if we pick the right films and the right sort of stories, we can start to change people's minds about how, you know, about how divisive the world is and how it shouldn't be. Right?
Definitely.
Yeah. So I appreciate the time, and I appreciate you asking me to be on your show. Thank you so much.
No, thank you. I totally appreciate it. So that is it for our show, guys. Thanks for watching. Give us thumbs up. Definitely check out Jason, the website, and give and, you know, follow MDMC on Facebook and Instagram, and you can find me on It's Official on Instagram. Everybody, have a good rest of your day.
Bye, everyone.